In this video, I'm gonna give you the best possible route to unlock Esiemo in the fastest and most efficient way as possible. What's up, Descendants? Bob here, and this is my guide to unlock Esiemo. If you guys want to see more videos for the first Descendant, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you guys want to support me, I'm gonna leave my Nexon creator code in the video description. Okay, Descendants, let's talk about the requirements to unlock Esiemo. The first requirement is gonna be to have hard mode fully unlocked, and to do so we're gonna have to have every single area unlocked, and to do that we're gonna have to finish the main campaign. Not too bad, it's gonna take you between 16 to 20 hours, and after you do so you're gonna have hard mode unlocked. The second thing that we're gonna need is Descendants. Like on previous videos or previous guides, we're gonna need Sharon. We're gonna need Sharon because we're gonna have to do stealth infiltrations, and these are done exclusively with Sharon. Second requirement to be able to unlock Esiemo or second Descendant is gonna be Freyna. Freyna, we're gonna use her specifically for doing a void fragment for one of the amorphous material patterns, and she's gonna speed up the process by a mile. We're also gonna need a fire Descendant for this guide. Lepig is pretty much the easiest one to get. He's a starting Descendant. If you picked him, you're all set. If you did not pick Lepig as your starting Descendant, then Blair is your next option. He's very easy to acquire as well, and we're gonna be needing a fire Descendant for one of the void fragments later on this video, and that's pretty much why we need a fire Descendant. And I also recommend having an ultimate bunny or a regular bunny and that a glay or ultimate glay available, because these are gonna help us in the fission reactor. These are not necessary, but they're gonna help us in some steps of the process. Bunny is gonna help us just doing things faster when we're farming for one of the void fragments, and a glay is gonna help us with the bossing because we're gonna be doing a couple of hard difficulty bosses. They're not the hardest, but she's still gonna make the process exponentially faster. Now, like I said before, having a glay is gonna make things extremely easy for this guide, so I highly recommend that you make a build for glay. It's not gonna be too hard to do. You do not need a lot of resources to make a good glay build. This one right here shouldn't be too bad. With a single mushroom you should be fully set up to kill both hard difficulty bosses with no problem. Then for the weapons for this build, I'm using the Thunder Cage. If you want to take a look at the modules, here they are if you want to take a screenshot. I also have the Piercing Light, but we're not using it for this specific build. We're using the Vestigial Organ. I have it with explosive attack, bonus fire and attack against Colossus, critical hit rate, and weak point damage. But most importantly are going to be the modules. Here they are if you want to take a screenshot. And lastly, for the external components, reactor is not going to be important for glay for this build. But for the external components, we're going to be using the Annihilation set. And to get this one, we're going to have to kill the Devourer in hard difficulty. Devourer is probably the easiest boss in hard difficulty to kill. People make fun of him because he is literally a punching bag. So it shouldn't be too hard to get this external component set. Okay, Descendants, now let's talk about the components needed to craft Esiemo. We're gonna need the blue materials, purple materials, and the blueprints. The blue materials are gonna be very easy to acquire. Just click F if you're on PC and it's gonna tell you literally where to farm them. These are very easy to get. Per box you can get between 50 and 200 of these resources for each. So in less than 30 minutes you should have every single one of them. And to find these resource boxes, you just need to click Tab if you're on PC or the right stick if you're on console. And you're gonna get a diamond on your screen, and just follow the diamond. You're gonna find the resource box, open it, and you're gonna get the materials. Just keep doing this until you have all the blue materials required, and then we're gonna be able to move on to the next step. For the first purple material, we have the deformed biometal, and this one is gonna be very easy to acquire on the Frozen Valley Volga Strategic Outpost. It's this one right here. You do not need to use a Sharon, but I highly recommend that you actually do so, because if you do, you're gonna be able to be getting this amorphous material pattern 119 and 118, and some of them have very valuable resources that you can open right here. So if you're already getting the materials, why not get the amorphous material patterns? For the organic biogel, we're gonna do the very first mission, the Kingston Communication Repeater. We can find this on Kingston. I recommend that you do this one on hard difficulty. And on the screen it says that it's gonna take us 2 minutes or less, but it should take you a minute per run. So in less than 10 minutes you should have all the materials required for the organic biogel. And lastly, for the last purple component, we have the specialized biometal. And for this one, I highly recommend that you do this outpost right here on the dune base. The reason is because this outpost, it's also gonna give us the amorphous material pattern 109. And this one is going to be very valuable because with that same amorphous material pattern, we can get a spiral catalyst for Esiemo. So we're going to be killing 2 birds with 1 stone by doing this outpost to get the materials and to get the amorphous material pattern. Okay, Descendants, now let's talk about the blueprints. For the blueprints, we have the enhanced cells, stabilizer, spiral catalyst, and the code. To get the enhanced cells, we're going to use the amorphous material pattern 59. And this one has a 32% chance on giving us the enhanced cells. And this one can be found by doing the Slumber Valley infiltration operation on hard difficulty. To get the infiltration operation, just interact with this terminal right here. Click on infiltration operation hard, Slumber Valley. Then here we're gonna change to the amorphous material pattern 59. And this one is the one that has a chance of giving us the enhanced cells for Esiemo. After you have the amorphous material pattern 59, then we're gonna go ahead and kill the execution on hard difficulty. With the build that I just gave you, it shouldn't be too hard. By doing it solo, it should take you a couple of minutes per run to kill him. Very easily. Now for the stabilizer, we're gonna use the amorphous material pattern 77, and this one has a 10% chance of giving us a stabilizer. To get this one, we're gonna have to kill the Devourer on hard difficulty, but to get the amorphous material pattern, we're gonna have to do the Sepulcher on hard difficulty. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna interact with this terminal right here. Then you're gonna click on the Sepulcher mission. You're gonna change the amorphous material pattern. And we're gonna be able to unlock the amorphous material pattern by doing this infiltration operation. After you get the amorphous material pattern, head back to Albion and then fight the Devourer. And same thing with the build that I gave you. It should take you a minute or 2 to kill the Devourer per run. Now for the Spiral Catalyst, we're going to be using the amorphous material pattern 109. This one has a 20% chance of giving us a Spiral Catalyst. And the nice thing about this one is if you're chasing for Kyle as well, this one has a 10% chance of giving us a code. And it can also drop us a part for the Piercing Light. So this one is probably the best one in my opinion to farm for the Spiral Catalyst for Esiemo. And it's also giving us a purple material, so we're pretty much killing like 4 birds with 1 stone. We're going to be using Sharon for this specific outpost. We need to do a stealth infiltration. Has a 25% chance of giving us the amorphous material pattern. After you get the pattern, we're going to head over here. We're going to switch to Blair. We're going to do this void fragment right here. And then we're going to do the fusion reactor. Repeat the process until you get the spiral catalyst for Esiemo. And lastly, for the code, we're going to use the amorphous material pattern 54. There's not a single amorphous material pattern that has a better drop rate than this one. They all have a 6%. But the reason that I chose this one is because when I was getting the Esiemo code, I was killing pretty much 4 birds with 1 stone. I was also farming for Kyle enhanced cells, I was farming for the Python, and I was farming for the Secret Garden. And this is pretty much the best amorphous material pattern to get the code. It's gonna take you a minute to get it, but it's gonna be worth it because you're gonna be progressing with other things as well. And to get it, we're gonna do the Fallen Theater outpost. We do not need Sharon for this one, but I highly recommend that you use her because amorphous material 55 also gives us parts for Kyle. So I highly recommend that you do this outpost with Sharon. Not required, but it is recommended. After you get the amorphous material pattern, we're gonna do this void fragment right here. For this one, we're gonna be using Freyna. This is a toxic void fragment. By doing this one, we're gonna get 20 inorganic void shards and 3 organic. So in 3 runs, you should have all the materials required, and any leftovers for the next runs needed to be able to get the code for Esiemo. Now after you get the code, you should have every component needed to craft Esiemo. And after you do, we're gonna head over here with an ice. Gonna speak with her. Gonna type Esiemo on the search bar, and we're gonna start crafting the spiral catalyst, stabilizer, and hand cells. These ones are gonna take 8 hours to research each, so I recommend that you do these 3 before you start farming for the code. That way you can do both at the same time. And while the 8 hours are passing, you should have already the code. After the 8 hours, you can start researching for Esiemo. It's gonna take you 16 hours to research. And after those 16 hours, Esiemo is finally yours for you to use. And that is all for this video, Descendants. If it was useful or entertaining, please leave a like, it really helps out. And if you guys want to see more videos for the first Descendant, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Later.